and I will get up and leave. Now, how do you make this lower so I don't crack anymore?
I'm going to turn you down. I know, you keep popping, dude. Popping.
I just get a little excited. Are we on or not?
Yeah, dude.
All right. So good morning. It's Tuesday.
There we go. I don't know if we're live. I'm looking. We've had some reconfigurations at Studio Chachalaca over here, but it looks like we might be up and running. And I even got rid of that little buzz that was going on that plagued me yesterday during my other podcast. But whatever. Let's see. Let's see what's happening.
Let's see what's going on in the world. Okay, can you sing your little jingle?
Drew in the morning.
Now you're popping.
Drew in the morning.
Ooh, I don't know.
Popping.
And Jess.
Also in the morning.
You're rude. All right. Well, good morning. So it's Tuesday.
Oh, look, I have it here.
What's going on? I know, but let's get started.
With what?
Whatever we're in the morning. There it is.
There you go. Yeah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's 9:21 a.m. on Tuesday, October 17th. We've got a few short days to go before the Halloween weekend.
I can't compete
with that.
Was that
a horse? What was that? Uh-oh. We've got two people, of course. Two of our favorites.
Two of our favorite listeners. Thank you for tuning in.
Gary V says, it's not about how many people listen. It's about the quality of the listeners. And guess what?
We got quality.
We could do better.
That's funny. I am popping, so I think I'm going to turn this down a little.
I'll turn it down right here.
Okay.
If it's too loud, y'all let us know because I'm trying to get the levels right.
We are trying to level out over here. We've had little technical difficulties reconfiguring this studio, but I think we're back on.
Get the balance right.
Ooh, Gio is in the RGV.
Oh, really?
Welcome home.
Hey, do you remember when we used to do all that turkey stuff with Gio and we would go pick up the turkeys and toys and all that?
It was such a wonderful thing to put together and do.
To Monte Alto, or where do we go?
It was all over the place.
I know. Gio, that was awesome, man. Look.
It was a good time.
Now I have the song stuck in my head. I don't even know if you can hear that.
No, I can hear it.
Do you know who this is?
No, I don't like when you ask me questions like that. Aw, we had a good time doing it, Gio. Thank you for organizing it and putting it together. It was tragic when you left, but though, because we were trying to fill that, and we didn't know how anymore.
I know.
So if you know how to fill that, we'd love to continue that project. Just let us know.
Fun.
The turkey dinners, it was beautiful.
It really put you in the Thanksgiving mood.
It did, and I think it helped me also organize something. And now she works for the competitor. We'll chat later to catch up on that.
You know who this is?
I don't know, Erasure. We're going to listen to you tune out. I mean, just jam.
You're already on your phone.
You lost me. So who was it?
I'm not going to say. I'm going to let Gio or Tracy know because I bet one of them knows.
Who the band was? Name the song, guys.
Dude,
Name the song.
Let me know. I'm all up for chatting. Yes. Well, does the competitor do the same thing? So to provide some context, what Gio would do is she would put out a phone call and say, hey, we want to deliver turkeys and toys and stuff to kids, less fortunate families all across the Rio Grande Valley. And so we would go in and we would buy Thanksgiving meals, right?
It was Thanksgiving meals, and the community would come together, and we would go out there on one day and buy everything at HEB, and then go and deliver it. And it was good.
It was good. It was really fun. Yeah. Anyway, good morning. I can't see you. I got to fix these microphone stands. These are ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing: is that I angled it like this on purpose because I wanted the camera to get my good side. So I'm willing to sacrifice making eye contact with you, so that I get my good side out.
Whatever, dude.
So that's what I was doing.
What side is your good side?
I think this side. I don't really know, but that's why I angled it this way. But if it bothers you, I'll move it all around and I can stare into your eyes.
No way.
Jess in the morning. There it is.
There.
So it's Tuesday. Can you tell everybody why we're on Tuesday, not on Monday?
Man, because I didn't have a voice yesterday, and my voice is barely back today. Also, the real reason?
Yeah, you were in a bad mood. You didn't like me yesterday.
No, you were a dick. We were fighting, and you were being very rude
were we
to me.
really fighting?
We were fighting. And I was actually going to post on Instagram and be like, hey, sorry, we can't do the show this morning because Jess sucks.
Oh, wow.
We were fighting yesterday.
We weren't really fighting.
No, you know what I attributed it to?
What? You having an attitude problem?
You're such a shit. No.
What?
I was gonna make a bad joke, but I'm not gonna make.
Well,
a bad
good.
joke.
I'm glad you're thinking before you speak.
No, I was
a
just
lesson
saying.
to everybody.
Well, I mean, I noticed tampons showed up at the house, and all of a sudden you're in a bad mood.
Oh my gosh! Wow. So that's where we're gonna go so early in the morning.
No, it was the hangover. It was the hangover. It was
What hangover?
Okay. So when I travel, and
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
gone,
like not seeing you, so I'm
that's
gonna move
right.
this around.
Here, do this, and then pick this up here.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
when
now I can see you.
when I travel, it usually takes a day or two before we remember who each other are.
Okay.
And you were gone for 2 weeks, man.
Yeah.
And it took a minute for you to integrate back into the household, and it took, it took me a couple days to get used to having you back and doing things your way, and it took you a couple days to come back and doing things your way and not my way. And so so that shit blew up.
I'm waiting for you to say something really rude so I can throw my coffee at you.
What a dick. You have coffee?
So
I ran out of coffee.
I know. Okay, so for those who don't know, Drew travels a lot for work, or used to travel a lot more than he has as of late. But there's always like a re-entry period.
Re-entry,
right? So,
yes. I called it the hangover.
So you'll go away, and I think it's a mindset also for a parent, right? So I know that I've got to tackle all of the things alone,
Yes.
and I can't count, like, you're not there. So it's not like I can rely on this person going pick up this one and doing things together. So you just kind of handle it. And then all of a sudden, said person comes back, and said person dad comes back in this case, and I had a minute. It was always a good day or day and a half before I'd go and hug you again, or he's back, we're acclimating, we're doing this. And so this time it was the other way around, which has never really happened. I've never left for 2 solid weeks.
You haven't. And I got used to the routine that we had and waking up in the morning and doing the stuff that we did, and then you come in and
I'm a little bit of a drill sergeant. I mean, that's not a lie.
We do not parent the same way all the time.
No, not ever.
My favorite thing was Nola yesterday.
Be nice, be kind to mom.
I was like, I said, I'm going to miss you, baby. And she goes, you're leaving me alone with her for 2 weeks.
So I am a little more stern than Drew. I run the house a little differently than Drew does. And so yes, I think it took everybody a minute, like, oh man, she's back. And she is not taking any prisoners.
No kidding, man. You were.
So it was a minute, and we got over it. But yeah, so the truth is, Monday he didn't want to talk to me. He just didn't want to have Drew in the morning with me. And I even asked. I said,
I was walking out of the house, and she goes, "Hey, are we okay?" And I look at her, I go, "No, I don't think so." And then I walked out.
And I was like, "Stop! Can you stop and tell me why are we not okay?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
We fight. We put that shit on Instagram. Anyway.
Well, it's not.
I don't remember what we're fighting about.
It's not the point. The point is that you need to talk to each other. We got to talk.
Yes.
And I did. I was like, hey, come back and tell me what it is that you're mad at me about. You can't fix it if you don't tell me. And then you spewed out a bunch of words. And
good to know that you listen. I spewed out words. That's how we fight. You just talk, and it comes in one ear, and then
I mean, no, I heard you just fine.
But did you listen?
I mean, I reflected on the words after you left, and then I said, he's so wrong. And let me text him why he's so wrong.
Oh my God, dude.
So it was line item by line item.
Hey, you want to know something?
You don't read it?
I still haven't read it.
Well, it shows red, and that made me feel better.
Dude,
and really, the only thing that matters is me feeling better.
The shittiest thing about fighting with you is that as soon as we come to like the head of the argument, I leave or you leave, and then you text me a novel of things.
Because I wasn't done. Or I have thoughts.
And for a long time, I'd be like, well, let me read these. And I was like, well, if I read them, they're just going to put me in a bad mood. So now I just don't read them.
Well, you should read them because it should give you insight and clarity as to what is happening in my head.
Argument closed. Okay,
well, no one wants to hear about us bickering back and forth, but you leave today. Where are you going?
Do people still fight the same way?
I don't know how people fight.
Do people fight the same? Because like we
bicker. I mean, I don't know if we fight. Like nothing gets thrown around the room. We don't even tend to get that loud. Every now and again, I raise my voice and.
every now and then.
I mean, I get
like
a little.
Monday
I
or
get
Tuesday
I get
or
a little
Wednesday,
louder.
Thursday,
I get a little
Friday,
louder.
Saturday.
Oh,
Sunday.
you, and you're so quiet with no opinions.
You know, after
So
the
docile.
surgery, after my throat surgery, I don't yell anymore. I just don't do it. And then when I do, the kids freak out.
Well,
Fleet and I had it out.
Don't be fighting with my little man.
He was pissed. He doesn't know how
fight
to.
you.
He doesn't know how to take the L in football. He's playing flag football, and he doesn't know how to gracefully lose. He knows how to gracefully, dude. He's on. So he's
Gracefully win, or he's
no,
obnoxious.
he's a dick. He's
Yeah.
so we're we're out there last week, and it's like Tuesday, and we have a game, flag football game, and he's like grabbing the ball and running, scores a touchdown, scores another touchdown. He goes, man, this is so easy. I go, hey, watch your words.
Yeah.
Like, it may be easy today. He's like, man, this is easy. I don't see what the big deal is. Dude, the next game, they got their asses handed to them.
Good.
And he
Gotta
was
learn to
crying
lose.
and crying. I go, hey, I have a question for you. He goes, what? I go, not so easy now, is it?
Well, good. I'm glad you checked him, because you have to check that. The egos go crazy, especially if he's your kid.
What? The fuck? Jesus. Oh my God.
Welcome, everybody. And on that note, we're going to change topics.
On
Let's
to
move on
what?
to brighter things in the world.
No, let's do like what? This, the world's
Homecoming
Oh my
week
God.
and the festivities that are causing stress in our lives.
Hey, for real, I'm not going to lie.
What? Tell me.
You know, you are asking our daughter, do you want to, what do you want on your mom? Do you want this on your mom? Do you want that on your mom? And I didn't have the high school experience that you did.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. I'm happy with my high school experience. I just didn't have the football Friday night friends.
You didn't have friends? Imagine
friends,
that.
but I didn't have that whole thing that you did, and so what's been really interesting has been to see how you are. Like how you're trying to shape our daughter into having the experiences that you do, which is great because I look at your friends, I look at what you guys have done, and I think it's really cool. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy the friends that you've had forever. I think it's really cool. And so you got her a mom, and I thought first I was like, well, don't boys buy girls? Oh, that's you know what I mean.
That's later.
No, but not boys and girls. You know what I mean. Isn't a mom paid for or purchased for someone who's a date?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, the parents buy them at this age. I was like, I didn't even know that. My mom never bought me a mum. Oh, wait, I guess it's a boutonniere. Whatever, see? I don't know.
A boutonniere. It would have been a garter.
Whatever.
And
anyway,
no, not everyone does it.
So then I was like, all right. And I'm picturing the mums from when I was in high school and like when my sister was in high school, a little flower, about yay, a little 6 inches, maybe with some little dangly stuff. And then the obnoxious girls would get like 2 or 3 like you did. And like bells and whistles and freaking blinking lights.
You've insulted me.
I'm not insulting you.
I'm counting.
I'm insulting your mum culture. And so we go to pick up the mum. Mm-hmm. And dude, that thing.
It's beautiful.
I turned around, like you turned around and I was sitting in the car and you were at the door and I looked and I seriously thought, I said, what the fuck is that? And it was so big and so obnoxious.
But yes, it is.
And I was like,
a mom.
what is that huge
Some
thing?
of them are
It's got
poofier
like
than
a
others.
neck strap.
Well, you can't pin it to your shirt.
Because your shirt will fall off.
I think a long time ago you could maybe like maybe they had a safety pin on them. I don't remember, but they got bigger. They got bigger, and it was harder. It was harder.
How much of this is a Valley thing?
No, this is a Texas thing.
Is it a Texas thing? Is it a South thing?
No, I'm looking for anybody listening out there. Let us know what y'all's thoughts are, because I'm pretty sure it's a Texas thing. It doesn't happen in other states. I do think that maybe as you get further south, perhaps it's a little bit more. Anyway, it's a bigger deal, but. So I got her a mom because I didn't want her to not, you get in the spirit, you go to the pep rally, you go to the game. I wanted her to make sure she had all this stuff, and she loved the mom. She was so appreciative. She loved it.
100% Texas.
It's 100. Yeah, there you
go. She did, and today she wore it.
And she's wearing
today.
it. Yeah.
I don't know. It's not.
And it's got bells, and it's obnoxious, and some of them are sure. I'd love to go to school and just check them out and see what everybody's wearing, just to see how big and great some of them can be, because sometimes you get multiple flowers. There's a whole thing. There's a harness.
But we're talking about 6th graders.
And they're expensive.
Yeah.
They're not inexpensive. These mums are not like, oh, I got it at, HEB and it was $20. No, they're expensive. And so that's the other part too, is that if you are, Nola is so polite. So she wasn't going to tell me she don't like it. No, she put it on very proudly. So where was I going with that? Oh, so if you're normally you exchange like a mom with a garter, right, with your date.
Okay.
And I always said the boys are the ones that end up in a pickle there because the girls' mums are so much more expensive than the garter. The garter can only be so big.
It's a whole culture I'm not familiar with.
Well, get ready for it because it's only sixth
She's so
grade.
excited too. She's like,
really excited.
Like, do you want to go to the football game? She's like, no.
Well, she didn't want to go to the game, but she was excited about all the festivities. She wanted to go back to school yesterday to go back to the pep rally.
Today is art club.
Like she is having an internal battle with who she really is.
She's gotten really good at sculpting.
You've
been gone, so let me tell you what our daughter is.
Tracy, you just bite your tongue, Tracy, over there.
No. Oh my God. It's like when she did Texas Citrus Fiesta.
I didn't tell you about that either.
She was the Princess of Tangerine Blossom. I had no idea what I was in for. And a friend of ours just got Princess of Ruby Red Grapefruit.
I know, that's awesome.
Ruby Red Grapefruit Blossom. Yeah, it's coming around again.
I sent the dressmaker's information over to her.
Did you?
Yes,
because I told her she had to get in early.
And so why don't you tell us a little bit about what Texas Citrus Fiesta is? Texas Citrus Fiesta is because it's coming up. It's right around the corner.
Yes, man. So Texas Citrus Fiesta it started as a way to celebrate the citrus industry in the Rio Grande Valley. Do you know how the citrus industry in the Rio Grande Valley got started?
Ooh, I don't, but I bet you can tell me.
You know who else can tell you? Tracy can tell you because I sat down at her house and I gave her a history lesson a couple of weeks ago.
I'm sure she couldn't wait to get you out the door.
The citrus industry started in the Rio Grande Valley when one of the Oblate fathers, who was a Catholic missionary on horseback, was cruising through the Rio Grande Valley and was eating an orange, and it's long suspected that it was an orange from Valencia, Spain. And they were north of Mercedes, and this little girl looked at them, looked at what he was eating, and he took the orange and he gave it to her, and she ate the orange. I believe, is it Mora? Is her last name Mora, or is it Moya? It's, I don't want to mess it up. Like Texas Citrus Industry Orange. And this is why we need a little producer to look stuff up while I'm typing, right?
Well, I don't think it's that important. Just move on.
So Vela, it was Vela. This little girl, they gave her the orange, and she ate the orange, and she took the seeds, and she planted 15 seeds from that orange, and that grew 15 trees. And then those 15 trees, people got the other oranges, and they started planting as well. And the whole citrus industry in the Rio Grande Valley started because of a Catholic missionary giving an orange to a little girl.
That's incredible.
Isn't that cool?
I didn't know that story.
That's so cool, man. And there's a historical marker. If you go up north, you can north of Mercedes, you can find it. It's right near the Laguna Seca Ranch, and it talks about the seeds being planted by Don Macedonio Vela at Laguna Seca Ranch in 1882.
This sounds like a perfect opportunity for you to talk about on.
Yes. Yeah. Oh no, I will on Keeping It Real.
Keeping It Real,
because it's such a cool story.
But so I didn't know anything about Texas Citrus Fiesta, and I had a friend of mine who I will not name, but she sends me a message and she says, "Hey,
Queen Citriana
of I don't know what year,
68th or whatever she was.
I don't remember." And so she sends me a message. She says, "Nola would be perfect for this if she's the right age. She should do this little." Well, I thought it was a pageant, and I was like, "No, we're really not. We don't even really do pageants." But then I asked her, and she was like, "I want to do it." So I said, "Sure," not knowing at all what I was getting myself into. Nola ends up winning Princess of Tangerine Blossom, and it was the craziest but funnest and most beautiful situation. It was so precious.
You know, I talked to our neighbor whose daughter just won, and Ruby Red Grapefruit Blossom, Ruby Red Grapefruit Blossom, and I said, "Hey, we're not pageant parents.
No, not
You're
at
not
all,
pageant parents."
Yeah.
I was like, "But dude, I said, lean into it and have a good time and just enjoy it because." So Texas Citrus Fiesta, goes back 70 years, 80 years, 70 years, 80 years, and it celebrates all things about citrus down here. And there's a big parade that goes through downtown Mission. And they've got floats, and the floats are made of like the rose
flowers
parade,
and citrus, yeah.
But out of fruits and citrus and stuff, and then they have like a whole competition. It's really fun, and it's coming.
And it's
January,
local, and
right?
It's definitely something to do.
Yeah, if you're from the valley and you haon't done it,
and
it's
the girls
awesome.
the girls' dresses are definitely something to be seen as well. I did get a little crazy when we went to go meet with the dressmaker, and we let Nola design the dress. And
she
then
designed on a napkin. That's right.
We went to a good friend of ours fabric store and got to pick up the lace and got to do all this stuff.
And the crystals. We put crystals all over it.
There were a lot of crystals that were.
What was it? What was the dressmaker? Was it Belinda?
No, her name is Delphina.
Delphina.
And she did an incredible job.
I was trying to remember when I was telling her.
I will note that was.
That was a fun year.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun year, but totally blew my mind with what these dresses cost. If I'm being honest, right? I think that dress ended up costing more than my wedding dress.
I didn't know it was that much.
Oh, no.
Wait a minute.
And I won't tell you how much the mum cost.
In 1932, Texas Citrus Fiesta was held. It was the coronation and pageant of citrus. John H. Sherry, one of Mission's early promoters. Oh my God.
Oh, but also the dresses are per city. So you've got.
Well.
Is that right?
It's not per city. There's different.
Palm, like McAllen is palm.
Yeah,
palms.
yeah. There's different duchesses, and there's different. The little ones are the blossoms, and then the duchesses are like the duchess of this and the duchess of that.
Right, and they're all, I guess, per city or where you live.
Yeah, anyway. Man. So hey, so sad, man.
What?
Well,
sad.
Speaking of this, it was really eye opening, man. Our daughter had a birthday party a couple weeks back. And went to this really cool little event center north on Sherry Road, and it's like a pool house, and then this big pool. But going out there, man, I took 4 Mile Line over to Sherry. They have torn down almost every single citrus grove that's out there, and it was for someone who's grown up here and grew up with I can't explain the smell of grapefruit and orange blossoms. When they blossom, it smells so good, and it's my memory of the valley. And it's not just that; it's seeing the little white blossoms on the tree, and then it's seeing the people, it's seeing the fruit get picked, and seeing the big bins on the side of the road, and everything that has to do with the citrus industry, and seeing those fields just empty, like dirt, down to the dirt. It was heartbreaking, man. And I get it. The people that bought the land don't want to farm and don't want to do it, but God, we used to be such a powerhouse for citrus. I don't even know where we stand anymore with regards to citrus production in the United States. But to think about where our roots are, no pun intended, in the Rio Grande Valley, God, it's tough. It was tough to see that, and I was not a fan. It's not my land.
Yeah.
Like I can't say anything about it, but I can't do anything about it. But to see that amount of citrus just completely wiped out, those are the old Sherry orchards, and this was a guy who came down to the Rio Grande Valley and got people to come down to the Rio Grande Valley and buy land and develop the land and turn it into something. Now there's, it's a checkered past because of the way that some of that land was acquired and who it was acquired from, and, all that being said, and the people that worked those groves. And, there's a lot of really sketchy history here in the Rio Grande Valley that I wasn't aware of until I started doing researching the other podcast. But man, it's tough to see growing up around all that. It's like, damn, they're ripping all of it out, and
you're also attached that way, right? So I
to my history,
to your history,
so
to your roots. I'm not. I don't tend to I don't drive by my old houses. I don't hang on to things. My memories are in my heart, and hopefully, I have an image of something that I really want to remember, and then I move on.
I feel like you and I grew up in a different.
We did.
Rio Grande Valley.
Right. It was totally different. You grew up in
the country.
Right.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the city. And so yes, there was orchards, but it wasn't my.
Yeah, but you never, as a kid,
saw.
You didn't run through the orchards,
no.
and you didn't get your feet muddy. You didn't pick citrus off the tree and eat it fresh off the.
No, so I don't know.
I did.
And none of that. So I'm not saying that it doesn't of course.
And I'm not saying I'm better or worse. I'm just saying my experience was
saying
around the nature in the Rio Grande Valley. It was around all of that. I used to play in gin trash.
It's like
when I was a kid, and it's like, and for anyone who knows what that is, it's like, oh man, that's a lot of fun. But I don't know if I'd let my kids play in the gin trash.
I always do find, the really trying to.
See, Gina says she drives by her old house.
Remember your roots, right? Remember all of that and keep that part of who you are. But there's also this beautiful thing that comes with the evolution of a growing city and the evolution of new opportunities that I feel like I've embraced really well.
Yeah.
And so I don't ever sit, and this goes with all aspects of everything. I'm not ever sitting there and harboring on, oh, that particular, friendship or person. It's like, oh, I appreciate all.
You move on quick.
And then it's like, okay, it's time to move forward because there's so much more.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that. I mean, like, I've sat there and I've mourned friendships that have lost or people that I have lost. And that part, of course, I treasure and I keep with me. But I also like have this thing where like you just move forward and you keep going because there's so much more out of life that's beautiful and it just keeps going.
Go right through those feelings.
You just
and
plow
bury
through
them
those
deep.
feelings and don't think about
Put 'em in a
anything
little
too
box
much.
inside
No,
and
but
just
I'm
push
just
'em
saying,
down.
like I don't drive by any old houses. I don't do any of that. Like I don't have any
nostalgia.
I don't have any nostalgia. I don't know why. I just
Well,
don't.
but again, I think that. Well, I mean, yeah, it's just and I feel like your mom's like that.
She plows through life as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't.
We're just that way. Jessica's never.
But no,
gone.
she's very family oriented. Where when your mom comes down, she likes to visit family and be around family. But she's not like take me by where I grew up.
No.
Whereas my family growing up growing up as a kid, when my family who was from here who moved away and came back to be like, oh, let's go drive by, let's go see this old house, let's go see this, let's go see the old.
I toured with y'all, and I was like, what are we doing? The whole time you guys wanted to go see this house and this and that, and I was like, what are we doing?
But it's also important for me that our kids know where they came from because we've built a really fun life, I feel, and I don't want that to take away from the history of their family, dude. Right. I mean, let's go drive down the dirt road I grew up in.
You do such a better job at that than I do.
Well, I think it
even the Mexican roots, you do a way better job at that than I do.
It ties people back to who they are, I feel like. And I think it's important that our kids know that they came from, we didn't come from a lot. We didn't,
right.
We worked hard to get where we are. And I feel like there's a lot of people who I don't want to say don't work hard for it, but they definitely had a different upbringing than I did. And now that it's one of those things where it's like socially, now that I don't want to say made it because I don't think anybody's ever made it, right? Sorry. But now that we're at a certain level, we're surrounded by people who some of our friends have grown up with things that I didn't have when I grew up or with different
that's
opportunities.
Everyone, right?
And so I just want to make sure that my kids go, hey, this is...
You want to keep them grounded.
Yeah, they got to be grounded,
yes.
man. Because
100%.
that's to me, that's what breeds that disconnection between helping people and not helping people. If they realize that everyone needs a little bit of help sometimes. Everybody does.
I think the helping people is key. I'm never going to argue with you on that one.
Anyway. Not to go off on a
now,
tangent.
If I can get you guys to pick up, your plates and put them in the sink.
No, we pay people for that. It's like Tracy asked me one time.
Let's not repeat that.
She goes,
let's not
she
repeat
says,
that.
Well, no, that was a joke, right? But
yes.
But I remember having this conversation with Tracy, and she's like, how often do you take out the trash? And I said, I don't take out the trash. And she says, why don't you take out the trash?
Like this
well, no, but I said,
I'm like,
we have someone who we have hired who takes the trash out. That's part of their duties is to do that. So if I'm paying someone to do it and then I'm going to do it also, I'm not trying to slide by what I'm responsible, quote unquote, for. But if I'm paying someone to do a job and then I'm going to do the job anyway, then what's the point in paying them to do the job that we've hired them to do? You know what I mean? It's like
right.
if we go to a car wash and we hire the car wash to wash our car and we get the little monthly pass, then why am I going to wash my car in the driveway?
I use it more as
it's not like I'm not being snotty, like I don't take out the trash. Who does that? We've hired someone to perform that task because this goes back to a really fascinating conversation that I've been having with a lot of dudes lately, where we're talking about how they level up what they're doing in their jobs and their careers, and about understanding your worth and understanding your value and what you bring. And it's like, if you're going to spend an hour washing your car,
right?
What would I charge for an hourly rate for consulting? If I would charge, let's say $200 an hour for consulting, high-end technical consulting, $250 an hour, is it worth $250 for me to wash my car? When I can pay someone $30 or $40 to wash my car, and I'm in a position where I can afford that, then it does two things. One, it frees up my time to focus on the things that are going to generate more income for me.
No one's arguing that.
But it also gives someone an opportunity to earn money performing a task for someone else. And so I see it as if I can be in a position where I can do that, then that's great. But where you get caught up is a lot of people who are just starting out their businesses or who are trying to figure out how to grow their businesses. They're sitting there and they're like, well, I have to do everything because I'm the one who does it right. And it's like, okay, well, I get that. But if you scale back what you do, you can earn more in the long run, and you can spread your business out a little bit better, because you can't clone you, but you can hire 5 people, and maybe it takes 2 people to do the jobs or the tasks that you do.
Right, it's delegating.
But you have to figure out how to delegate in order to properly grow. And there's a local guy who has a therapeutic company that's some great lessons down here on how to scale a business properly. But it goes back to if you're paying someone to do the task, is it actually costing you money at that point?
Right, and I do think that we see this in a lot of our friends who are business owners, who you feel like you just need to take it all on yourself. Right?
Yeah,
like you're like,
get out of the way.
It's like that.
It's
like that commercial where the guy's the janitor and the manager and the owner.
On the wheelie.
Yeah, whatever it was, where he does all of this stuff, and then you realize, wait a minute. I can't possibly be great at doing all of it all at the same time, which leads me to another conversation that I just had with a dear friend. And that was really trying to figure out the mom and career woman all at the same time. And I know that it's a little bit of a tired subject. We talk about it all the time.
No,
but
it's a daily struggle.
It's a daily struggle, and it's completely relevant. And so I just came off of 2 weeks of being out of town, away from the kids, and I missed Fleet's birthday, right? And so this was it's a big deal for me. Those of you who know me know that I am 100% hands-on, and so this was quite hard for me to say, okay, Dad's handling it. And I really honestly, and I said that this morning, I was talking to my workout friend this morning, and I said to her, I've had to just really let go and let God, right? I don't know who I'm going to offend by saying that or upset, but you just have to at a moment take.
Or let your husband, who's perfectly capable.
Well, yes, but hold on. Here's my point.
But here's
my point. My point. Let me finish.
Yeah. Sorry.
My point is, by me saying there's nothing I can do to control the situation. I'm 500 miles away. I can't do anything about it. I'm going to give it to God to figure it all out. Allowed for me to see how wonderful you were at figuring it out and taking care of it. There was no doubt. I knew you were going to be able to handle it, but I wanted to be there, and I needed to give myself some kind of comfort as to know why, to be okay with me not being there, right? And so by allowing myself to say, there's nothing you can do about this, that you can change.
Yes.
I was able to really, truly be happy that you were there celebrating with him. And although I cried, right, like I cried that morning and I had a minute and I really wish that I was there, I was so excited and happy for you guys because you nailed it. You nailed it from start to finish. It couldn't have been any better if I was there. And that allowed me to just be happy.
Well, so and that's awesome. And I'm glad to hear that, because I think we were having this conversation at lunch the other day where you said something, and I know you didn't mean it in a rude way. And I know that normally parents don't mean it in a rude way. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe super passive aggressive. But you said something like, well, I was gone and Drew was taking care of the kids. I wasn't taking care of the kids. I'm a parent. I was parenting.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like I'm not a babysitter. It's like one parent doesn't babysit the other kids. You're freaking kids. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And so you said something like, well, while I was gone, Drew was watching the children. And I was like, I'm not. Like, no, I'm being a parent. I'm parenting. That's what parents do. They parent children. And I understand where you're coming from, right? Where 90% of me is agreeing with what you're saying. The other 10% is like, well, yes, of course I'm going to do it. Like it's like I'm not going to not do it.
Would you say?
But you don't. But I have a problem with parents saying that the husband is watching the kids,
right? Or that they're babysitting the kids.
You're both parents.
Right.
Give the other parent the respect of being a parent. Like, let them. Like, empower them to be a parent. Don't knock down what they're doing by saying something like, oh, it's his turn to watch the kids, or my husband's babysitting, or my wife. If a guy said that about the wife, like, oh yeah, Jessica's babysitting the kids while I'm at the bar with with my friends, that doesn't land the same way that it's like, well, Drew's babysitting the kids while I'm out having a drink with the girls. Then everyone's like, ha ha ha, that's so cute. But don't be detrimental. And I'm not saying that you did. Yeah. I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying that you see it all the time where you see parents.
Like, we should be lifting each other up and just
yeah,
being
man.
Drew's daddying right now. Like,
that's it.
He's got it.
You're dadding and you're momming. When like for the next 2 weeks, you're gonna be momming the shit out of these kids. It's gonna be great.
Well, for 1 week, because then the kids are solo.
Oh, yeah, you're bailing on them again.
I'm leaving. I'm not gonna be a mom next week.
Anyway, yeah, I think that parents need to recognize that the other parent is a parent also. And yeah, I get it. There's the stereotypical stuff like, well, dad's out fishing, or dad's at the lease, or dad's doing this, or dad's watching football,
or maybe dad's working.
Yeah, or maybe dad's working. Oh, heaven forbid. But it's just, I think that dude, shout out to dads being dads.
Okay, so
shout out to RGV dads who just I don't even know if it's public information if I could say it, but congrats to them. The Knapp Foundation in Weslaco just approved a grant for them. That's so great. Happy for the RGV Dads organization. They just do so much good stuff. If you're a dad and you want to talk to other dads doing dad stuff, look up RGV Dads. They do just such an incredible job. And it's not a support group for single dads, although it can be. It's just dads dadding, and it's dads uplifting each other and supporting each other to do incredible things with their children, married, not married, single, divorced, widowed, whatever it is. RGV Dads has such a good group of people. What a
great movement.
Yeah, it's needed. I mean, we've talked about this time and again where the majority of the issues that you see with people who are having problems later in life, so many of it's dad issues.
I was just going to comment. So we recently met somebody who does men's work, and I didn't really know what men's work was. I know that, we talk about these retreats, and we talk about, faith-based retreats, and how it helps, men come to terms with whatever hardships that they might have had, and how normally you'll find that the bulk of them stem from having a daddy, like dad issues, right? Like, they had a dad, or their dad was maybe abusive, or, all sorts of things come into that. But we did meet somebody who that's his life work, it's men's work, and to help with what else is like grieving. And I found that to be so fascinating from the perspective from his perspective. It was, a long time ago, way back when, it was the man that would take the boys out to learn how to hunt and fish, and to provide shelter, and to do all the man stuff. And now typical
traditional male stuff.
And this was way back when, right before electricity. And now, as the evolution has happened, men work, right? So they're at work all day long. So moms are doing the raising of the boys, and what has gotten lost through that. And again, I'm not getting into.
Well, that's, I was about to ask.
Yeah, I'm not getting into the specifics of what, of genders or any of that stuff now, right? But his work, I thought, was really fascinating, because from those eyes, the having to heal because you didn't actually have the male role in the house.
Okay, so this is a point that came up at lunch the other day with me and a bunch of the guys' lunch, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm genuinely questioning, not trying to stoke a fire, but genuinely questioning that traditional male role. Mm-hmm. Does it have to be a man that provides that male role, or if it's a relationship that it's two females raising raising a child, is there, because of genetics, because of the way that people are born, because of the identity of people, is that something that I don't know the correct PC way to say this, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but mm-hmm. I genuinely am curious if it has to be an anatomical male who fills that role, or is it just the person who's guiding in that way? Realm. Yeah. Like, is it, because then you physiology and testosterone and like all the other crap that comes, but there's also, and again, I'm not trying to be offensive. I just genuinely wonder, mm-hmm. does it have to be someone who has a penis that leads that role, or can that role be done by someone who is masculine in one way, shape, or form? And again, I'm really not trying to offend, but I'm just genuinely curious.
I did ask.
It's like,
I did ask this question
because this is 2023, right? And there's a lot of different types of relationships, different styles of relationships, different styles of raising, not bearing, but child. You know what I mean? There's all these different things.
So I did ask that question. I asked Josh that question specifically because I said...
Can't be mentioning names.
Well, he's an amazing counselor, though. I feel like, shout it out. He does great work. But I did ask specifically, I said, how does this work out for the households, right, that don't? And he says, at the end of the day, what you really want is someone who's giving attention to the kids, right? Like, you need someone who's actively participating and pushing whatever it is that fits in your home. So if it's going to be more, if it's
I know, yeah,
like if it's a boy and you want him, you know what I mean? Like, you want it to fit that kind of role, like doing that kind of stuff and paying attention specifically to that. I don't have the right answer here, and I think he said the same thing. He was like, this tends to be more of a traditional type of outlet. I have not encountered yet, different scenarios, and so I can't answer that.
And I'm not, I just am curious with it. As long as the home is stable and safe. Yeah, I mean, look, I get that. Some would have you believe that there needs to be a penis in the home, but they're wrong. So many children in homes with both parents are suffering.
No, and that's not what we're saying. Yeah,
and I agree on the stability on the safe side. I'm just saying,
and that's what he was trying to say was that as long as someone's paying attention to the kids.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is if there's not someone there that's teaching them how to chop wood and build a fire and go fishing and shoot things,
well, the
again,
evolution.
But
the evolution also, right? Like, who's building fires? Most
but it's not,
fireplaces have a button.
Yeah, but it's you know what I mean. It's that traditional because
the traditional gender roles. Yeah.
Because I feel like this mic isn't working. I gotta get real right about it.
It's because I unplugged you.
Probably. No, but shit. Sorry, but I really feel like when
I think we all need a lesson. None of us know.
When you go do that, when you go and you get grounded and you go out to nature and you're doing nature stuff, it just feels what's the word, man? Like not.
I don't like doing nature, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you feel different when you're out there. You feel different when you're doing something that. When you're chopping, when you're like, I can make fire. I mean, it feels, and I don't know if you've ever felt this.
I'm trying to think if there's a correlation for me.
You as a guy, and I can only speak about me. I feel different when I'm out doing stuff that is substantial in that way, shape, or form, and that's why it's always weird because, like, I'm a computer guy. I always tell people I can't build anything. I'm not gonna build a house. I'm not gonna,
Right.
But when I go out and I'm doing something that is providing by doing something manual. Yeah, it's a different, what's the word that I'm looking for, man? It's just a different feeling inside. You feel like you've accomplished something. And
you know what? I feel that same feeling. Are you ready for what I'm about to say?
When you're sweeping the floor. No. Sorry, I had to.
Let's be honest. So when's the last time I swept a floor? No. Honestly, it's when I make a meal and my family eats it. I feel like I am winning at life.
But both of those conversations go back to traditional gender roles.
Right.
And I think that's what I'm asking is that it doesn't have to be.
We don't have the answers. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a guy that teaches you how to build a fire.
No, because I think that I think if you got great joy out of cooking, like I bet if you ask one of our chef friends, when he cooks a meal and he provides for his family in that sense, he feels that same accomplishment. I think it's different for everybody, and it might be, I don't know. I feel also accomplished when I get,
But then,
Nola out of the house and dressed, right?
Then, so conversationally though, right, where we talk about the issues that a lot of people deal with, and they're mostly daddy issues, right? Mommy issues are their own things, but you don't find grown men sobbing over their relationship with their mother. You find, from what I've seen, the big problems that are affecting people that are 30s, 40s, 50s, that they're coming to terms with everything, it's all about their relationship with their dad. It's not about their relationship with their mom. It's all
would it be safe
adultery and abuse and alcoholism and all these things stem back to, it's because my dad this and my dad this and my dad that. And it's like,
well, because those are rules that we learn. Those are things that you see in your home and you learn. You start to think that those things are okay. And then when you wake up and you realize that they're not okay, I think it's a mental, it's like a whoa, that wasn't right. But yet that's what I saw my whole life. So maybe that's where
mimic that behavior,
because we do. So that was the other thing, is that I've learned this as of very recently. Our kids are listening to everything.
Jesus, I know you're so,
everything.
You and I cannot be good about that all the time. It's like we could be way better at making sure that they're not listening to what we're saying.
Oh yeah, we definitely. I was reading.
A woman can build a fire just the same. Sure, there are many issues that a male-female child may feel more comfortable addressing with someone of the same gender, but safe and stable role models can be found all around, not just in the home.
And I think
I'm
that's
not disagreeing with
right.
that.
No, that's 100% accurate.
Well,
and I'll tell you this. Hold on. There was another thing I was getting at.
What?
Was we had an uncomfortable conversation. We had and I hate to air out poor Nola. We had an uncomfortable conversation with our kiddo. Right? We got a Barkler and it threw me into a tizzy, and I said, Drew, get me on FaceTime right now. You go get that phone. We're opening up. We're looking. I'm not going into the details of this, but we had to have an uncomfortable conversation with her, and she was, I think, mortified, right? Yeah. But then it was also mortified because you were in the room. Like, it was easier to talk to mom about it than you in the room. But hold on, I made it a very big point to make sure that you stayed in the room, although you didn't say very much. Because one, there's no secrets in the house.
None.
Two,
there's no privacy in our.
There's no privacy. And two, if I die tomorrow, who does she have to talk to about this? So she might as well get used to talking to dad about it too. And so I like that she may choose to speak to you one day about something private, or choose to speak to me, and that it should be either or.
It should.
It really shouldn't be like, oh, well, mom's a girl and I'm going to talk to mom about it. It really could just be you. And I grew up in a house. My parents got a divorce when I was in 6th grade. And so I had to have the uncomfortable conversations with my dad. And it would have been nice if I had been prepped for it, right? Like
I've had all the.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, is that you're just always present for those awkward conversations, and I'm thankful for it, because what we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
So you know what's crazy about all that is that we knew coming into 6th grade that it was going to be an interesting time for us with her, not for any other reason than she's going into
she's just growing
she's
up,
a preteen girl. She's going into her stuff. And that I don't care what school district you go to or whatever. We just knew that was coming, and I think that as terrified of it as I have been, because this is, keep in mind, so I'm divorced, got 3 older kids, but I never went through this with little M. She was already, the ex moved them to California when they were like, she was like, what, 4?
No, honey, she was probably like 7 when they moved.
Well, but we never had to deal with the
right.
teenagers.
We didn't deal with any of this.
And so I don't know what
stuff.
it's like to be in the house with the teenage girl, with the preteen girl. Like, I don't know what we're getting into,
right.
and it's been terrifying, man. Because,
but like, terrifying for me, because it's uncomfortable.
I don't know, dude. I don't know how to deal with this. Like I don't even like to talk about her period. She doesn't have it yet, and I don't want to talk. Like,
well, that's a lot more information than anyone need to know.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't like these are they're conversations that I'm just and I don't go back to the male female thing, but I'm just like, hey, that's totally your department.
But hold on, but that's why I make it a point to have those conversations in front of you, because there's nothing wrong with what's happening with our bodies.
I agree, but I don't know how. I mean, I've never inserted a tampon.
But hold on, but if you had to read the instructions and try to explain it to her, then you'd have to do that. That's just what it is.
There's male OB-GYNs.
I mean,
right?
I want to say my dad gave me like the box and was like, okay, here.
Yeah,
and then you had to figure it out.
Is it okay? Then is it a cop out for me to be like, hey, can you handle this?
A little bit, yeah.
Really?
Because it really should just be fluid. We shouldn't be like, oh, I'm sure there'll be times that Fleet ends up with some kind of situation where I'm like, and we'll have to figure it out then.
Let's talk about condoms.
Oh my God, you went there?
Well, dude, I mean, it's going to happen inevitably.
Moving on. This is a lot of personal information. Poor children. Yeah, no one needs to know any of this.
I don't know. I don't even know if anybody's listening. I don't even know if anybody cares. But hey, I do. The other thing is I
The
still
bunny is watching you.
People don't realize that I think that this is really our time to talk to each other.
Oh.
We just started recording it one day. But this really is. Oh, by the way, this is show number 23.
I know.
We are.
I don't think anyone watches it. Thank goodness, except for Tracy.
We're
and
3 episodes away from it being at the half-year mark.
Are you going to be here next week?
No, I'm going to do this from Prague. No, we can do it. It'll be late for me, early for you.
I think I'm fine. You'll just do that one without
girl,
me.
You are fine.
Just do it without me.
I'm giving you eyes.
All right. Were they real? Was there real content we were talking about, or are we out of time? I haven't looked at the time.
No,
Somebody tell me.
Look, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now. And I don't want to say that I don't want to talk about it, but I'm just not going to talk about it. That's it. I'm implementing a gag order on myself.
That's a first.
Well, I
think it's okay to say that
you know what I will say is that I am absolutely disturbed with Twitter, and what really to me is the worst thing about all this is that a couple of weeks ago, the new CEO of Twitter, or X or whatever, fired the entire content moderation team that handled the content moderation for the platform. And what you're seeing now on social media is the most disturbing. It's the most disturbing images I've ever seen on social media. And granted, I joke that I've been to the end of the internet and I've seen all the things that you can't unsee. But what you're seeing right now
is not,
en masse is so terrible. And this goes, we have a digital parenting group. And one of the things that we keep, Tracy circulates some stuff and we've circulated some stuff that this is a terrible time for kids to be on open social media because of the information wars that are happening on both sides. And I absolutely mean that. I'm not, this isn't me trying to take a side or a stand on anything other than the fact that both sides are using social media as a way to get information out. And that information is information that I think it's important for the world to see. However, some of the imagery is just so barbaric on both sides. And I had a real good conversation with just an absolute dear friend of mine on his perspective and his take with this. He's got tons of friends in Israel, and he's very pro-Israeli, and I've been having real conversations with them about everything that's going on, because the information war is at a level that we've never seen before. We've never seen this before. And this is the start of something new, because both sides are clamoring for eyeball views, because it's like, hey, if we can get more people to see our side of it, then that's going to raise awareness for our cause on both sides.
How do we talk to our children about what's happening?
I mean, it's we've got it different with our 7-year-old because he's in a religious school, and he comes back talking about the war in the Holy Land,
right?
And then you've got the news and everything showing what's happening on college campuses around the U.S. and right. It raises questions like, well, why do so many people believe one way and so many people believe another way, and who's right? And it's tough, right? And again, please don't take that as I'm saying that one is right and one is wrong. I'm not saying I am completely staying out of this. What I'm focused on is the information that's being disseminated across the globe, and that is the most terrifying thing. Because what we are led to believe is just as important as what's really happening, in my opinion, over there. And that's kind of a controversial statement, but I think that when you've got both sides taking out advertisements on social media and social media allowing that to happen, and social media
let me ask you a
working
question.
the algorithm to show what they're showing. I don't want my kids seeing dead children.
That was my question.
That's
my
the
question
reality
was,
of the war. I get
so
it,
is
but
no
it's
one
like, dude.
so no one is moderating. No one is looking at that content and
There's
saying
still-
perhaps maybe this is too much, because it used to be a long time ago that
Hold
the
on.
U.S. wouldn't
Don't-
show images that way.
They still are to some extent. They still are, but the stuff that we're not seeing compared to what we are seeing, the filter's been opened up a little bit in the name of in the name of fake news and all the other stuff that's a result of all the things that happened in the United States. Now the filter's been, some of it's been unblocked. You're still not going to see some of the, the grotesque, like the super, super grotesque stuff. Or at least you shouldn't. But even what you're seeing now is not being as critically fact checked as it was before. And that's leaving room, and they're figuring it out. They're figuring out how, and I'm surprised we didn't see more of it with Ukraine and Russia. But what we're seeing now with this conflict is that they're really pushing the limits on what they can put out there, and it's everywhere.
So would you say though, but that has been the norm with social media altogether. So when we scale back and remove yourself from this conflict, like we're not like just talking in general about social media and the impact that it has, it's to be said that it's been so awful for quite a bit of time that we should have already been removing it from our kids' phones and from kids being part of it.
But then you can also take a look at the larger global stage, and you can say, well, Americans are soft because the rest of the world's been seeing this for years and years and years and years. So is it Americans that are finally seeing this and going, oh my God, it's shocking,
because
dead children.
I remember
Whereas
being able to
before,
see the newspaper in Mexico. And it had all of those graphic images.
That's right. That's right.
It's interesting.
I'm looking at this again objectively from the thing where I have the most expertise, which is from the cybersecurity aspect and from the information component, and it's nothing like we've ever seen on the internet before, and it's driving viewership and driving and the way that I'm going to use this term is important, is sensationalism, in the sense that it's taking the absolute most sensational, not in a good way, imagery and videos and sound clips and everything, and that's what's getting its way to the top of the algorithm, and that's what they're seeing. And so that's why I worry about the kids seeing something and it changing their perspective, but it not being fact-based. That's my concern, is that people are going to see something on social media that has no context or no accuracy to it, but it's made its way to the top. I mean, there's footage from video games that's being shown, right? And people are going, oh my God, look what happened. There's footage from 15 years ago that's being shown, and people are saying, look what happened this morning. So there's all this misinformation and disinformation that's coming out of this in order to skew the perspective on both sides. And it's granted, what's going on over there is tragic in every sense of the word. But what's happening on the information side is that people are getting sucked in to firm up their beliefs on what they believe on both sides, and it's causing some pretty crazy real world issues. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm worried about it. I'm going through London today, and we don't worry about much of McAllen, Texas, unfortunately, for us, fortunately. But we have friends down here that are terrified, of some of the things that are happening. But on a global scale, I mean, look what just happened in Brussels. Look at the 6-year-old kid that was stabbed in Chicago, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'm worried about it, but I caution everyone who's reading anything, just fact check it and just make sure that you realize that what you're seeing may not be accurate. And it's crazy because even as grotesque and crazy as it is, some of it's actually going to be pretty accurate, but there's also things that are not. So don't make your decisions based on what you see on social media, I think, is a rule of thumb. Anyway.
Well, our hearts are with everybody that is affected, and it's a hard subject to even talk about.
I don't want to, yeah. So there's that. There's also all kinds of other stuff. School voucher stuff, dude.
I was just going to ask you if you knew
Texas Republicans, man.
If you knew who the the contenders for the superintendent role. Have you been following that at all?
In McAllen. So apparently the Brownsville guy was just shortlisted. But I mean, Brownsville is not an A+. Like it's. I mean, no,
I don't know what's happening. I'm looking at you like, tell me.
To talk smack early, but
tell me about what you know about the superintendent.
Gonna miss Jay for sure, but we'll see. You know, maybe this guy's got a. You know, I haven't dug into him much, so I don't know if he's got the good.
The question that was posed to me was, did we get a lemon to the other districts that didn't want that person? Like, who is this guy?
I don't know, but Harlingen. I'm all eyes on Harlingen. Let's see what
Are parents going to be? I mean, should we be worried about drugs in the Halloween trick or treating?
Oh God, you know that this is a good question, but it reminds me of the meme where it's like, and there's a guy who did an interview where it's like, hey, just. You know, hold on. Let me read it.
We don't need the meme. Just tell us what you're talking. I don't think drug dealers are going to put a bunch of drugs in the candy dish. That's
kind of the premise of the meme.
But that's not to say that we shouldn't be checking candy.
It says pre-Halloween reminder: no one likes your kids enough to give them free drugs.
I mean, I don't disagree, but I don't know. I do check the candy.
I've never met a drug dealer who's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take $10,000 worth of merchandise. I'm going to stick it in a 6-year-old's, pumpkin.
No, but there are some hateful people out there, so you really don't know. Check the candy, make sure. Also, what else?
Oh my God, is our next show on Halloween?
I think so. If you're back,
I don't know. I can't math. No, it's Halloween.
No one is putting their expensive edibles in their buckets.
Yeah, for real. You know how hard it is to get good stuff.
But can I give you guys a real story that happened to me? Okay, so I'm in this class. I've been there for 2 weeks. I meet this guy sitting to my right.
And just don't mention people's names.
I didn't mention his name. Anyway, there was a dude sitting to my right. Really nice guy. He was very smart, sitting next to me. Anyway, one day he gets a call.
That's enough about him.
One day he gets a call, and I'll be honest, guys, this class is pretty intense. You were not allowed to have your phone. You weren't allowed to pick it up. And so I see he had his phone up on his desk, and I see the call come through.
Is a terrible
and it's
idea.
like so-and-so ISD.
Tell people how I was keeping you awake during your class.
I was like, Drew, help me, send news, help me. Kept me wide awake. I got a 96 and a 98.
Our kids listen to this.
I don't know if it was the teacher or Drew's provocative photos.
Yeah, dog.
Anyway, I always tell everybody don't scroll through my phone. Definitely not through the messages.
I tell them like, go ahead.
No, what?
Scroll you want.
Anyway, and so this guy sitting next to me, ISD calls. Tracy, you're gonna love this story. And he's looking at the phone like, do I answer it or do I not answer it? And I'm like, dude, it's the school district. You need to answer your phone. And he's like, yeah, but the professor was kind of a stickler for the phone. I was like, get out of here. Go answer the phone. So he leaves, and he left for like 30 to 45 minutes. And I was like, this guy never came back. What happened? So he comes back, and he's kind of a hot mess, but he gets through the class. And honestly, I forgot all about whatever could have possibly been bothering him. The next day, I casually asked, so how's it going? How was dinner last night? Did you guys have a good time? And he says, no, actually, that call I got yesterday. And I said, well, what happened? He says, it was the school. My 14-year-old took an edible and was so high that he couldn't function. He was drooling on himself at school, and nobody knew what was wrong with him. They thought he was having a seizure. God. Because he was so out of it. He couldn't talk. He couldn't, nothing.
That's terrible. Which one did he take?
Well, that I don't know. And so.
God, that's tragic. Which one was it? Where did he get it?
He says he's like, and the worst part about it is that I have to call my parents to go pick him up. And he's like, so now they've got grandma and grandpa wondering what kind of degenerate parent I am, that my kid's taking edibles at school. And then he was all messed up, and he slept from like noon till 10 p.m., so I couldn't even talk to him to yell at him. And he got suspended from school for 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Better hide the rest of the edibles.
But you know what I did say? I said, well, where did he get the edible? And he says, I don't know. He said he got it from a friend. And I said, well, the story here is don't let your kids take things from other people. Like, if you don't know what it is, don't consume it. That's the lesson. The lesson is that could have been laced with fentanyl, and he could have died.
That's right.
It couldn't have been, it was bad enough he was drooling on himself, but he could have died. So
I saw someone drool on themselves when they smoked opium seeds.
Who do you hang out with?
This is a long time ago.
Where are you?
I can talk about my high school experience.
I was like, I was at a football game and you were smoking seeds?
High in a 1927 Mercedes Benz. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about, but that stuff's scary. So anyway, that was that. Put your edibles away. Don't let your children near them.
For real,
yeah,
man.
they look like gummy bears.
Well, anyway, yeah. Oh, speaking of November, we might go to the marijuana show, the marijuana business show in Vegas. I'm very interested in this. What an incredible industry. Will we get in the state of Texas? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, from what I've heard, the consensus is, why would they legalize something in Texas? I mean, that's just going to affect the budgets for the war. Oh my God! Did you read what Abbott did now? This guy, you know where else we're building a wall?
Oh, where?
Oh, this is so good.
Where the walls don't work, y'all.
No. You know where else we're building? Okay, so Biden greenlit 26 bills or 26 sections or something of wall to be built in the
Why?
This guy's like, not another mile, and it's like all of a sudden construction's started. Way to go, Biden. Just because
don't work.
Well, I mean,
and they cost so much money.
Listen, I am not a fan, but for doing what they're supposed to do, they kind of work.
Can't you just go around them and people learn how to scale them? People know how to climb over them.
Yes, which is more of a pain in the butt. Anyway, but now we're building another wall.
What kind of wall?
I can't even make this up. You want me to show you?
Where's the wall?
Oh, it's so good. Look, Texas wall. You ready? I don't know. Will you read it? Will you read it?
Sure, I'll read it.
Read it. I'm going to give you the headline. I want you to read it. Okay.
Are you putting me in the hot seat?
Yeah. Just read the headline. Ready? Just read it as it's written. Ready?
Okay.
Go.
A new border wall. Texas installs fencing along New Mexico border. What?
Yeah, dude.
Why?
Mexicans, man. New Mexicans. He's terrified that the new ones are going to come.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a different... Oh, my God. Wow. Migrants are entering New Mexico illegally, and then they're crossing into Texas. Our wonderful, fearless leader, Greg Abbott, posted on Twitter, Texas National Guard reinforces border with razor wire following Governor Abbott's orders. This is on the border between Texas and New Mexico. Bold. Migrants are entering New Mexico illegally. They're going into. So what's happening is they're going into New Mexico.
I feel like we've been on over an hour. Does it tell you?
And then, yeah. We're an hour 6, and they're coming across into Texas. So he's going to build a wall between us and New Mexico. Look, you can't even.
I don't want to look.
Anyway,
I'm over it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's done.
All right.
The walls I think are a little silly and
I love
waste of money.
And I will see you.
You'll see me
in a couple of weeks.
In 2 weeks.
11 days.
Oh, you're counting down now. You're so sad.
So sad. Oh my God.
You're just happy because you got your upgrade.
I did get my upgrade. I burned a system-wide upgrade, but I got it.
Good. I'm glad.
And I'm happy. I might go to Vienna on Friday.
Have a good time.
I'm so excited. It's going to be great. I get to see an old friend. And I get to go see some great stuff in Vienna. Never been there. Always wanted to go. Still trying to figure out how I get to Finland also.
I'll be at the Mackay football game.
Are you going to get a mum?
No one.
Do moms get mums?
No. You didn't give me a mum. You should have already ordered it. It's too late.
You can't just go to HEB and get a mum.
You can't just go to HEB and get a mum.
Why not?
They don't have any.
I was trying to cue my little thing.
Yeah, well, you failed. Off to work. Come on, you got to pack, and I got to get to work.
Love you.
Love you too.